You lie down. You close your eyes. The world fades away. Your body remains still, resting, but your mind begins to wander, drifting into dreamscapes, encountering people who don't exist, living moments that feel as real, if not more real, than waking life. But have you ever wondered, where does your mind actually go when you sleep? If sleep is simply a biological function, why does it feel like your consciousness is on a journey? Let's peel back the layers of sleep. Let's dive into what really happens to your awareness when the body powers down, because this is not just about dreams, it's about something far more profound, the nature of reality itself. Contrary to what we often believe, sleep isn't a shutdown, it's a shift. While your muscles relax and your eyelids close, parts of your brain begin to light up, especially during the dream state. In fact, during REM sleep, the brain can be just as active, or even more active, than it is when you're awake. The logical part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, goes quiet. That's why dreams break the rules of logic and physics. But the emotional and visual centers go into overdrive. They paint wild scenes, they trigger deep feelings, and they do it without your permission. So is your consciousness resting? Or is it simply tuning into a different dimension of reality? During sleep, the external world loses its grip. Noise, light, touch, all fade into the background. And what replaces them? A vivid inner universe of symbols, stories, and visions. Some philosophers argue that sleep is when the subconscious takes the wheel. Others suggest that the dream world is not imagined at all, but discovered. What if in sleep we don't fabricate a world, we access one? This shift from external to internal doesn't mean silence. It means a reorientation, like switching channels on a radio. When the noise of the world dies down, another frequency becomes available. And maybe, just maybe, that frequency has always been there, waiting. Have you ever had a dream of a place you've never been, with details too precise to be random? Or a conversation with someone who felt deeply familiar yet completely unknown in waking life? Dreams often present us with content that seems beyond our personal memory. Things we've never seen, emotions we've never consciously felt. So where does this information come from? One theory says our brain synthesizes fragments of memory into new constructs. Another proposes something more radical, that dreams are a form of conscious exploration, a journey into collective memory, ancestral data, or even realms beyond time and space. Could dreams be tapping into something that exists independently of us? We tend to think of sleep as a break from life. But what if it's not an escape at all? What if it's a doorway? Some traditions, both ancient and modern, suggest that sleep is the moment the soul unhooks from the physical body, a sort of temporary out-of-body experience where consciousness floats free, unbound by the physical laws we obey while awake. People who've practiced deep meditation or had near-death experiences often report entering dreamlike realms, full of light, sound, and intelligence. Could it be that we access these same places every single night, but forget them the moment we wake? Imagine this. You wake up, but you can't move. You're completely aware, but your body is frozen. And worse, you feel like someone or something is in the room with you. This is sleep paralysis, and it's not rare. But here's the weird part. People across cultures, across centuries, report the same sensations. Dark figures, a weight on the chest, a sense of fear without explanation. Is this just a biological hiccup, a trick of the brain as it transitions between states? Or is it a glimpse behind the curtain, a moment when the veil between worlds thins and we see something we usually can't? Most dreams happen without our input. They play like a movie. We're passengers. But sometimes you become aware that you're dreaming. And when that happens, you can control it. Fly, change the setting, ask questions, even speak to the dream itself. This is lucid dreaming, and it offers a profound philosophical insight. Even within the most abstract layers of reality, consciousness can awaken. If you can be asleep and still realize you're dreaming, what does that say about the nature of waking life? Could it be that this too is a kind of dream, one we simply haven't yet questioned? A 5-minute nap can hold what feels like hours of adventure. Dreams compress time or stretch it. You could live an entire lifetime in a dream, only to wake up and find that barely a moment has passed. How is this possible? It challenges our idea of time as a rigid, measurable flow, and if time bends so easily in the mind, how sure are we that the time we live while awake is any more real? What if time itself is something consciousness creates, not something it moves through? Here's the most radical idea of all. What if consciousness is not a product of the brain, but something the brain tunes into, like a radio receiving a signal? This would explain why, during dreams or altered states, people access information they've never learned, see symbols they don't understand, or experience moments that transcend the personal. If consciousness exists beyond the body, then sleep isn't shutting off awareness. It's stepping outside the limits of biology. And if that's true, then everything we thought we knew about the mind might be wrong. Perhaps memory doesn't just live in the brain. Perhaps thought is not limited to our skull. Maybe what we call the mind is a lens, not a container, a way of focusing consciousness rather than generating it. The idea sounds wild, even mystical, but consider this. Every night, without fail, we leave our waking identity behind. We vanish into places that feel as real as anything we've ever touched. We meet people who don't exist. We remember things we've never lived, and we return each morning without ever asking where we just were. Why don't we talk more about this? Why is the act of dreaming, this nightly journey into another reality, so often dismissed as random nonsense? Maybe we're afraid of what we'd find if we looked too closely, because to question what happens when we sleep is to question what it means to be awake. And if consciousness can awaken in a dream, it can awaken here too. Every night we disappear into the unknown. We forget the rules, we forget our names, and yet we live entire lives in these dreamscapes. We awaken each morning assuming we've returned to reality. But what if each day is just another layer of the dream? Maybe sleep isn't an escape from life. Maybe it's a reminder that life, like dreams, is far more mysterious than we think. So the next time you close your eyes, remember, you're not just going to sleep, you're entering a mystery, and somewhere inside that mystery, you might just find a truth you've always known.